All right,
Oh. Isn't Trump supposed to ask for permission to destroy the White House? I don't know. I assume it's another thing Congress just doesn't care about anymore. Oh boy.
Seven million old white people.
7 million old white people.
To understand just how extreme Zohar Mamdani is, all you have to do.
Oh my goodness.
To understand just how extreme Zohar Mamdani is, all you have to do is listen to the stuff that he says. So, Mamdani just a couple of days ago did an interview on Fox News with Martha MacCallum, and Martha did a fabulous job interviewing Mamdani. Mamdani has taken a wide variety of extraordinarily insane positions. Some of them he has walked back because he understands that they actually are politically toxic. So one of the ones that he walked back was his criticism of the NYPD. So Mamdani, not all that long ago, was saying that the NYPD was racist and quote-unquote anti-queer. And again, that is the sort of stuff that makes you popular with the Democratic Party primary base, but is unlikely to make you popular with the generic voter in New York City, where it turns out people hate crime more than...
No, okay. You can't say it makes you popular with Democrats broadly and then say New Yorkers don't like that rhetoric because New York is very blue and very Democrat, especially right now. I know they elected some Republicans, but that makes no sense. The anti-cop rhetoric only works on the very far left, very far fringes of the left. Democrats, with a vast majority, support police. Okay, it's a very far left thing to call all cops evil. Very far left. I went to a Bernie rally. I went to multiple rallies of far left, of so-called far left politicians. Every attendee said thank you for keeping us safe to the cops. Every attendee said thank you to the cops. It's just a stupid idea that all of the left hates cops. It's a very small minority.
they hate the police. And so Mamdani was forced to back off of that at least a little bit by Martha MacCallum.
You said in the past, I almost don't need to go through it, it's been said many times, but that you called the police force racist, said they were a major threat to public safety, called them wicked and corrupt. And now the report that you apologized to 24 members of the NYPD. What did you say to them?
I apologized for the language that I use, and I spoke to them about the fact that I want to work with them to deliver public safety. Because what we're seeing in the city right now is we're asking officers to do nearly everything we can think of.
See that quick pivot from Zoran? It's really good politics. The quick pivot from I apologized because I want to work with them, and actually their jobs are too difficult right now because we ask them to do too much that's outside of their job requirements. It's a really good pivot from Zoran. But again, the absolute language about cops and evil police and ACAB and all that kind of stuff, it's really dumbass language. If you're on the left and you use that language publicly, you're probably not really an ally of mine, because it's anti-pragmatic to a point where it just it's also dumb. It's also very reductive.
We used to ask officers to focus on serious crimes. Now we're asking them to focus also on the mental health crisis, to focus also on homelessness. In 1 year alone, the NYPD receives 200,000 mental health calls.
Police officers that I spoke to, they don't want a behind closed doors apology. They want a broad public apology for the things that you suggested about them. Will you do that right now?
Absolutely. I'll apologize to police
to?
officers right here, because this is the apology that I've been sharing with many rank and file officers. And I apologize because of the fact that I'm looking to work with these officers, and I know that these officers...
Again, a good pivot. Good politics.
These men and women who serve in the NYPD, they put their lives on the line every single day.
So, again, what's hilarious about all of this is that no one in the NYPD believes Zoran Mamdani. No one. I have friends who are in the NYPD. They do not believe him. They believe that he's mouthing these slogans in order to win over these so-called moderate Democrats who are probably going to vote for Mamdani in the actual New York City election, which is happening the week after next. But the fact that he feels the need to back off of that is because the anti-police position is such a luxury belief that even the Democratic Party can't actually sustain it for very long. They tried it in 2020, the anti-police position, and it was really quite bad for them. It led to broad-scale riots. It led to an...
When it comes to Democrats and Republicans, Democrats are much more pro-police. Maybe at a micro level in rural areas, cops are more associated with a rural community, I guess, and more conservatives become police. But like Republicans will send ICE to tear gas police and laugh about it. They will pardon January 6ers who smash the skulls of cops and laugh about it. Okay, they will do all this stuff that's anti-police. They are not principled in anything. They are pro whatever gets them power. So if it's the military, they will use the military and use ICE and use federal agents to make police life hell in cities, cause police more issues, drain their resources. ICE are a bunch of thugs right now, and local police are sick of having to babysit them. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it. Every Republican I know will come out and say like, "Oh, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris defunded the police," because they don't pay attention to anything except rhetoric. And like Republicans are good at kissing ass. Democrats are not good at kissing ass. And I feel like kissing ass is something Democrats are like they just don't do it for white people and white men especially. So like that's one big group they lose because people want to have their asses kissed. Even if Biden passes a policy that funds police more and gives more manufacturing to red areas, these people want their asses kissed. Okay? They want the rhetoric. Trump won off of white identity politics. There needs to be some type of response to it.
Increasing crime between the Ferguson riots of 2014 and essentially 2022. And so now they're being forced to back away from these crazy positions. But what does Zoran Mamdani actually believe? Well, he actually believes the thing that he's apologizing for. He doesn't like the police. And if you think that he's going to give broader purview to the police to actually stop crime in New York City, you're out of your mind. Because what actually is Zoran Mamdani? He is absolutely radical, and the signaling is how you can tell. To whom is he signaling? And the answer is the most radical parts of his base. And the best part for him, the feature, again, not a bug. Everyone keeps getting this wrong in the media. They keep pretending that Zoran Mamdani's radicalism about the Middle East is actually somehow an inhibitor to his political success.
Yeah, through the American Rescue Plan, through the Safer America Plan, through that one Safer Communities Act, Joe Biden pushed for tons of funding for police to fund police more, okay? You can look it up. You can Google it right now. You can Google Joe Biden police funding. Joe Biden never supported in any way. He never supported defund the police. He did a huge grant program to improve security at schools and to hire more police officers. There's a bunch of stuff Biden did that's pro-police.
Wrong. In New York City,
but
with
no
the Democratic primary base,
he didn't
it is in
enough
fact
ass
an
publicly.
aphrodisiac. Now, Mamdani did a mayoral debate yesterday with Andrew Cuomo, the former Democrat governor of New York, and Curtis Sliwa, the Republican candidate. What the polls show right now is that Mamdani is the front runner, but he's still in the mid 40% range. That Curtis Sliwa is running in the teens, and that Andrew Cuomo is running in the high 20s. So the basic theory goes that if you wish to stop Mamdani from becoming mayor of New York, basically Sliwa has to drop out and endorse Cuomo. My guess is that probably will happen sometime in the next week or so, because there's really no upside at this point for Sliwa continuing the run. I like Curtis. I think Curtis is a nice guy. Curtis is a radio host. I've been on a show. Like, all of that's wonderful. Also, he has no shot of actually being the mayor of New York, and every vote for Sliwa at this point is a vote for Mamdani, because it prevents Andrew Cuomo, the only real challenger in the city of New York, from being.
You think he's gonna also, if Sliwa dropped out and endorsed Cuomo, Cuomo would not win, but Sliwa is probably not gonna do that.
Eric Adams is damaged goods. Every day, a new case of corruption in the police department. They believe he's corrupt. Andrew Cuomo is a creep, slapping fannies and killing grannies.
It's crazy. What a
being
good
able
guy.
to become
What a cool
mayor.
guy.
How extreme is Zoran Mamdani? Again, it's not just
not
that he is
not a great guy,
pro-jihad.
but you know, he's
Zoran
funny.
Mamdani, I mean, again, he uses the
Pro-jihad, holy shit. That should be considered defamatory.
cover of quote-unquote international law and human rights to defend the worst jihadists on planet Earth, which you'll find to be a common
Quote-unquote
trait
laws.
among people who are quote-unquote defenders of international law, defenders of the International Criminal Court or the International Court of Justice or the United Nations. People who cite international law while defending those who routinely violate it. But Zoran Mamdani is also a Marxist who's going to wreck the city of New York. So in the debate last night, Zoran Mamdani said that he is in fact going to make busing in New York City free, because nothing will make busing safer or cleaner than making it absolutely free. Quick, name a government service that has not become more degraded as a result of being quote-unquote free, meaning fully funded by the taxpayers. You cannot. In any case, here is Zoran Mamdani saying that the way he's going to pay for that free busing is with taxes. Now, again, the nice thing about the busing system in New York is not wildly expensive. It just isn't. And this idea that if you want to take buses in New York City, it's going to bankrupt you. Look at the cost structure on the New York City transit system. It has one of the strongest transit systems in probably the world, certainly in the United States. But Mamdani wants to bring that price down to zero. How? By taxing the only people who are generating revenue in his city, obviously.
But the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the
Generating revenue is an interesting way to frame that, because the people that have all the money don't really generate the revenue. They move assets around and manage capital, but they don't generate it. If all the working people moved out of New York City, it would not be a city anymore. If all the billionaires moved out, they'd have some economic issues, but it would still be a city with a work base. Now, it'd be a financial issue, but it's just, I hate the way we talk about this in America. It's really just crazy. Nice. Remember when Joe Biden... Remember when... It's just really crazy how throughout the past few years, we've had to listen to the right wing talk about political violence. But when Obama was under attack constantly, we could not talk about that whatsoever, or we were whiners. Or when they put up a picture of, like, you know, Obama hanging, or Joe Biden in the back of a truck tied up. This picture Trump actually reshared himself. Trump himself, the president, reshared. Meanwhile, the president, Trump, is compared to a random Twitter user from the left, a random Twitter user making fun of Charlie Kirk. It's such a dumb double standard. Not even a double standard. It's not even a... It's a dumb... Bro, you're comparing the president to a rando on Twitter. You can find any random person from any group that's going to be a dipshit. And bringing a noose to the Capitol. What did they mean by this? I don't know what they meant by this. And when they said hang Mike Pence and kill Mike Pence, who knew? Who knows why Mike Pence was not Trump's running mate again? Who knew? Who knows? Who even? You can't even understand it. And now we have this story where January 6th rioter who Trump pardoned made a plan to kill Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries. And Republicans will not condemn it today. Like, this January 6th violent criminal terrorist was pardoned by Trump, okay? And then he made a plan to kill a top Democrat, and no one's talking about it. Because when someone attacks the left violently, Democrats care and Republicans don't care. When someone on the right gets attacked, Republicans care and Democrats care. Both sides care, so it becomes a national story. But when a left person gets attacked, then only one side cares, which is the left. And the left does not concern, like... They don't go on the media nearly as much to drive home a story or a narrative about these things, but the right wing loves doing that. Oh God, it's so
revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares. And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
Okay, by the way, I'm just going to point out here again, I asked Comet, a project of Perplexity, one of our sponsors, what exactly the transit fares are right now in New York City. Apparently,
Oh, God, dude. Political media is so stupid. It's so dumb.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Waters along with Kaylee McEnany, Jessica Tarlov, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Open mic at the Rose Garden. President Trump was throwing back Diet Cokes in the Oval, then stepping out to serve up some insults as he hosted a lunch with Republican senators. In the beautifully renovated space, 47 blasting the Democrats for keeping the government shut down and sicking Darth Vader on them.
It is crazy that Trump right now is destroying the White House. So this is the East Wing of the White House, completely torn apart. This is a public building owned by the taxpayers, and Trump, without any approval from Congress, tore it apart. And he's using private money from his big oligarch donors, Bezos, Peter Thiel, Palantir, Amazon. We have SpaceX and Elon Musk, all these private donors who own our government now. They are tearing apart a portion of the White House to replace it with a giant ballroom for Trump and said rich donors to party in. Private money. Now, this is the thing where people are like, well, I mean, taxpayers aren't paying for it. Bro, dipshit. We want taxpayers to pay for government property. We don't want the government to be owned by private interests, or we don't have rights anymore. The only reason we have a constitution and we have rights in America is because our government can be a stable entity. If private entities can just pour money in, tear apart our government institutions and buildings, and replace it with their own ballroom to dine as we all suffer, like, we're not going to have rights anymore. You're just celebrating the complete, our entire country is being stolen from us and sold and scrapped for profit. And you can't even say America first, bro. We're sending $40 billion to Argentina for Malay's dumbass to do some libertarian dipshittery. Like, we're sending money to freaking Israel nonstop. We're sending money all across the world. We're giving China all of our soybean sale. We're giving Argentina our soybean markets in China. Our soybean farmers are dying. Their businesses are falling apart, and we have to give our farmers a bailout that we're paying with, that we're paying for through the tariffs that we're paying on imported goods that are taxes. Like, it's just, it's so stupid.
We have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back.
But Darth...
There's never been a president to say, I'm going to cut programs only from Democratic areas. They have cut $27 billion in programs from Democratic areas. They have cut $1 billion in programs from Republican areas. And Joe Biden's policies that funded these green energy locations and battery factories and all this manufacturing in America, those policies gave red states more money. So states like Texas got a majority of the money from things like the Infrastructure Act, from the Inflation Reduction Act, from all these different policies. Texas got like 1/4 of it or some or like 20% of all the funding from the Joe Biden policies. They did not touch Texas. They literally went through and chose states that Kamala Harris won in the last election. And Trump is cutting workers from Democratic states, cutting programs from Democratic states. We're pausing the biggest solar farm in like the world almost. When our energy costs are skyrocketing because it's in a Democratic area. Like, there's never been such an assault on half of America. Trump talks in front of our military, calls Democrats gnats that need to be taken care of, shares videos of him dumping shit on half of America. There's never been a president to target their fellow American like Trump and Trumpism. It's never happened. Now, if you want to be a bitch and say, Joe Biden was attacking me, as Joe Biden poured money into your dumbass states because he stood in front of a red light and you got scared easily, you can say that. But you're being a damn fool.
Will be the least of the Democrats' worries because the base wants to see heads roll. If anyone caves, according to The Hill, Democrat senators are, quote, terrified of getting the guillotine if they vote to end the shutdown. Meanwhile, the No Kings boomers might break a hip after hearing this news. President Trump is winning the shutdown battle, and the numbers prove it.
This shutdown hasn't even...
By the way, they went really quickly from No Kings protesters being armed militants from Hamas to being a bunch of old people dancing. They went really quick from that. So they were calling for violence, by the way. When they called these protesters Hamas terrorists, Antifa cells, they were calling for violence. All across America, 7 million people protested. There were 0 arrests related to Democratic politics. There were 22 arrests related to Trumpers attacking or threatening these protests, the No Kings protests. So whenever they talk about BLM in 2020 or they talk about violence on the left or whatever, the No Kings protest number 1 and 2 went through with 0 arrests, 0 violence whatsoever. And now they want to be like, oh, they're not even that tough. They're doing dances on the sidewalk. Yeah, bro. That's been happening. They're liberals. They're against the death penalty. They don't like guns. They don't really like using guns as a dick measuring competition like Republicans do. They are very anti-war. They're more anti-war than Republicans. Like, these are the hippies, bro. This is the party with the hippies in it. These are the peace-loving college kids that don't want to see wars. That actually don't want to see wars. Like,
New
it's just
donation
crazy.
from Marcus. Surprised face. $5.
Thank you for $5 with a surprise face. Thank you so much. Ah, that was Sprig. Thank you.
President Trump is winning the shutdown battle, and the numbers prove it.
This shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's...
Thank you, Feisty, for becoming a supporter tier channel member. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know if I've seen you before.
support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support. So the bottom line is this. The first shutdown during Trump's first term, 2018-2019, was hurting Donald Trump. This one is not hurting him at all. There's no real reason Donald Trump might say, at least when it comes to popular support, I want to get out of this shutdown.
And despite the fawning coverage of the No Kings protests, Crazy Bernie actually thinks the media is on Trump's side.
What they are trying to do, and I touched on this a little bit
They
in my
are,
remarks,
bro.
is
They're on the side of big money. Trump is on the side of big money. Democrats have their moments on the side of big money, but Trump is through and through bought and paid for by multiple countries and multiple big corporations.
to say to ordinary people, hey,
And
look,
their ratings get boosted
we
with
got
Trump.
ICE
The ratings are huge, and they make money off
breaking
Trump.
down doors. We got U.S. troops in Portland and Chicago. We're powerful. We are really powerful. You got nothing. Who are you? We got Elon Musk. We got all of the billionaires on our side. We own the media.
It's true, bro. Right-wingers own every media channel, except like MSNBC. For like until like next week when they're getting sold. CNN is owned by a right winger. Fox News, The Hill, New York Post, all these New York Times, Washington, Wall Street Journal. All of them are owned by right wingers. All of them are owned by right wingers. All the social media sites owned by right wingers. They have been in control. Fox News, by far the biggest media organization on the planet. By far the highest rated shows owned by right wingers, of course. Fox News. Okay, #1 broadcasting channel, or number not broadcasting, but whatever, number one rated TV shows on Fox News. Conservatives own the media. They own media like Joe Rogan, which is a so-called apolitical podcast, or like a Theo Vaughn. They dominate all of media except
Our
Hollywood.
people are buying elections.
And late night TV.
You can't run
basically.
against us because we have so much money. And by the way, we control it all. You're nothing. Go home. Who the hell do you think you are?
All right, so Jessica, that poll just goes right in your face because you always say how the Democrats are winning the shutdown battle, and it doesn't look like it.
Well, that poll was about Donald Trump's personal approval rating. And when I saw this in our packet, I thought, oh my God, it's going to be some enormous number. And then it was +1. And there's also, from the same time during the shutdown, the AP poll, which has him at his lowest second-term approval at 37%. So, you know, take it for
Trump currently believes his approval is at like 90%, by the way, because they tell him that he has like dictator numbers. If you tell Trump his actual approval ratings, he starts pissing his pants and shitting himself, and he cries like a little baby, like he literally cannot hear the facts of his own numbers. They can't tell him it. He'll freak out and fire you if you tell him the actual facts.
For what you will, Harry Enton was back on TV this morning with one that I feel like would be in your face. He said, I was shocked to see how Dems have gained on party ID per Gallup. Dems lead by 7 points versus a tie at the start of the year. Looks a lot more like 2018 cycle than 2022.
Look at this guy in the chat talking about the COVID vaccine that Trump funded. You know, Trump got a COVID vaccine like 2 weeks ago. Trump did Operation Warp Speed. Trump got another booster 2 weeks ago. So you don't trust your king. You don't trust your king. I'm proud of you. You separated on one issue. And it's the only thing he's right on.
I like that very, very much. But the shutdown is about the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party. Greg will taunt me about 2028, but Donald Trump will not be on the ballot. If he is, then the TDS is going to be through the roof.
I hope Trump's on the ballot. I hope Trump's on the ballot. Please, Trump, run again. I hope, please.
And Republicans are losing the shutdown battle between 10 and 15 percentage points. The American public blames them for it because they are the ones that are in charge. They are in charge of every facet of government, and they have to compromise to get something done. They have to come to the table. And Mike Johnson has been having these calls with his caucus, and members from all over the country are saying to him, we want to at least come back to work. He's keeping the government closed. He's not bringing them back so that they can't even.
This is in the Senate. He doesn't have anything to do with the House.
Well, but you need the House to vote on
after the
government.
Senate goes.
Yeah,
yes, okay.
I understand.
You guys in the Senate are not voting to open the government. Isn't that right, Kayla?
Well, we don't
Do I
need
have
to.
that correct?
They're not making a compromise with us, Johnson. No, you don't have the numbers. Then get 60
you
senators.
You don't have the issue.
What? We do.
This is why I don't stream some days, and it's hard for me to make content because every political conversation now is a liberal trying to be like, hey, dude, we have negotiations and like there's Obamacare subsidies and like tax credits and like there's different ways to manage the profit margins here, and if we pass this policy in the budget process, then we can maybe reduce premiums for this number. And the Republicans like, you don't vote that direction, you're stupid, I don't care about the
healthcare actually. The voters actually trust us on it. They're wondering where your concepts of a plan are taking them.
If they trusted you would have won the White House.
Not
you don't have any.
It literally is just like, like, bro, you're dumb. It's the only response. You would have won the White House. We won. It's like, dude, you can't talk about anything. You can't talk about anything, dude. You can't talk about anything anymore. There's no real conversation. It's painful. It is CTE. It's painful.
Power in Washington.
Trump is minus 36 on health care.
And you're minus 897 on everything.
Oh, that sounds official.
A few fact checks. Number one.
Yeah, exactly. And this too. It's a lot of hard labor where you're like, hey, here's a fact. Here's a fact, Republican. And they're like, what about the ICE agents? They're being assaulted at a rate of 100 million % times more than before. So therefore, we should be tearing up the Constitution, right? And it's like, no, like we have to protect American citizens. Oh, you want to protect illegals? No. I want to protect them. I want to protect American citizens. Oh, you want to protect illegal rapists? And I'm like, no, like I don't want ICE to be able to scan my face and track me down with geo tracking technology and to bug my house and blow my front door open because they say there's an illegal immigrant in my attic. And they're like, oh, you want to? So you're pro rape? And it's like, no, I want to defend the Constitution. Oh, so you like rape? I'm like, no. I just care about, in the Constitution, you can't just like search our house or track us unlawfully. No, but you're pro child rape. It's like, no, I'm making a completely different point, but they just don't. It just like it hurts me. It hurts me. Yeah, like Trump today, he's like, we're gonna take medication costs down 600%, 700%, maybe 800%, dude, maybe 2,000%, because they know they could just make up fake numbers that sound big, and their supporters will be like, it's a really big number, it's a big one. It's like, dude.
Harry Enten went on to say fewer than half are blaming Trump for the shutdown. So he did have shutdowns in his polling. Number two, Donald Trump and Barack Obama's net approval ratings on average are about the exact same at this
That's
point in their
just
second
not
term,
true,
both hovering
brother.
around 45%. Joe Biden was 43% worst approval since FDR, or excuse me, going back to Carter. So Trump's doing fine in the polls. Number two, you say we have no health care plan. Mike Lawler has put together a plan with 13 Democrats. He says, let's extend the subsidies for a year and figure out how to bring down health care costs that have skyrocketed since Obamacare.
What does Mike Johnson say about
Chuck
that?
Schumer? Where is Hakeem Jeffries partnering with them? They're not. What they're doing instead is refusing to pass a CR 12 times, to Jesse's point, 12 times.
Wait. John Fetterman, the world's greatest, I don't even know. Apparently he's pro breaking the filibuster.
Republican colleagues have proposed nuking the filibuster to force the government to reopen. What do you?
Yeah, of course.
Was John Fetterman pro nuking the filibuster before he became a Republican? Like, was he pro that before?
Carve it out for that, absolutely.
Carve it out for that so he can move on. Just the filibuster is not real anymore. Okay, I'm not going to support any Democrat who's pro filibuster. If you're pro filibuster, I'm not supporting you. You're not a real politician. I just
We
can't do it.
ran on that. We ran on killing the filibuster. Now we love it. You know, it's like carve it out so we can move on.
Wait, Democrats are telling Republicans to carve it out. That guy.
The Senate has voted down the CR. 13 times, Senate Democrats voted for CRs during Biden's tenure. The only thing that has changed is the president. They won't come to the table on health care.
Mike says, hey, dude, come out the closet. America knows you're homo. Brother, yes, I am. I'm not really. But you're gayer than I am. Because you can't see. I mean, I can personally see gay men kissing, and I'm not going to be gay, bro. You see two gay men kissing, and you're thinking of penis. You're visualizing penis in your mouth. You're imagining it. That's why you can't handle seeing gay people kiss in public. We know it. We understand, dude. We understand. We get the struggle. I believe in you. I believe in your struggle.
Hello.
Hi, this is the YouTube Politics Show. What's up?
It's Jola.
Yeah, it's Jola.
I was just calling. I wanted to discuss why I think Trump is doing a good job.
All right. Yeah, what's up?
When you look at like a city like Memphis that actually, works with the president on bringing in National Guard and setting up the Memphis, I forget what they call it. It's a group of multiple factions, the federal government and local police. And you look at what they've been able to accomplish in Memphis as far as, cleaning up the street, returning 45 children back to safety that were missing. Those are big things. And those are things that we could accomplish in other cities too, if the mayors weren't playing victim roles to keep votes for their constituents who seem to think that Trump's racist when like 90% of the Trump cabinet or like Trump's employees before he was president were of different ethnicities. I just think that he's doing a lot of good for the country.
So, I would say that I don't want a president to push for military in different cities in America. If we want to fund local law enforcement, that's cool. We can do that. We should be working through police. I don't know why we're so anti-cop now in America. I don't know why Republicans are so anti-cop. We should give police the resources
No
they need
Republicans
and hire more.
anti-cop.
No, but like if an area says, so like for example in Chicago and Portland, the police chief said we don't want the National Guard or the feds here, but they just said screw you. They literally said they're liars. They called the police chief liars. So like, and
Chicago
there was
had the highest murder rate in 2024 out of any state.
Well, okay. Well, when it comes to states, the top murder rate states are like Alabama and Mississippi. The top, like Memphis is a top
Chicago has the
state.
most
And
murders,
St.
I
Louis
think,
is a high
right?
one. There's a lot of high ones, but it doesn't really. That's not the point here. The big point is if the federal government can just tell the police chief, tell the mayor, tell the governor, we don't care about your rights. We're gonna send in the military and the National Guard. Like if Tennessee wants to change their National Guard into being a policing unit for the state, they can do that if they want to declare a
You see
constant
the good
national
that it did,
emergency.
right? Like
But my big
45
thing
kids,
is my big
45
yeah.
kids that were missing. And,
No, but I'm saying
they're home
police
safe
police do
now.
that stuff all the time. Police do that all the time. They do great work, and I don't know why
No.
we don't
If
talk
you
about the
look,
police achievement,
if you look at
police
the
achievements.
statistics, like as far that happened in a month. That happened 45 kids in a month return home that have been missing for.
If you take
God
any
knows how
city in
long.
America and you take the issue is that we're tracking this like an ESPN high score. We don't usually do that with law enforcement. Police do great things all the time, and I feel like we're devaluing the police, the work that police do. We're saying we got to send in the feds everywhere. Like the feds, even when, and like I said, it's up to the state if they want to introduce this federal, I guess you could say stationing of troops or whatever, or National Guard. They can do that as a state if they want to declare national emergency 24/7. But when a state and a city and a mayor says we don't want that, my question would be, why does the president get to tell that state, that mayor, that police chief, we're going to send in the feds even if you say no?
Because he was elected on running and cleaning up our cities that need that help.
But they were elected
may
too.
not
We
have
have
the
states' rights in
may
America,
not
right?
have the representation because of all the immigration that's happened, and them gerrymandering the political zones to favor and basically silence the voice of the right in that state. Because if you look at the actual map of like county votes in America under the last election, it was red. I mean, the whole map was red. There was blue spots, but the whole map was red.
It's because more people live in the blue spots than the red spots. No, but the question is, no, but the president is not a dictator, right? They can't just do anything.
No,
There's
he was absolutely
states'
elected
rights.
in the office.
So are you saying the
Randy
president
wasn't
can just
clean,
violate the
and
Constitution, or they can just? I don't want a president to trample on states' rights and to put federal agents. I don't want Joe Biden to put federal agents in the streets of a red state
just the
because they
other
have
day-
such a high death rate.
Just the other day, you can look and see that there were many Chicagoans or Chicago citizens who were at a press hearing with their mayor, and they were getting very irate with their mayor, for not allowing or not working with the federal government to. Because, I mean, really, even the National Guard, when they're not there to arrest citizens. They're there for to stature themselves around the streets to gather information and intel for the police, for the local police. But then you have like Chicago, where there was some thugs got into a shootout with the National Guard, and the police were told to stand down. I mean, that's
The question is, should a president be able to just lie and send federal agents into any state in America?
Is
So
it
like
a
there's
lie,
a bunch of
though?
stories. There's a bunch of
What's the
stories.
lie?
Like I know people who moved out of DC, for example, because of the military occupation of DC. I know people who left DC because of how unsafe it felt, having ICE tear down doors and
I turned on the news and like they were like saying, "Wow, DC is so much safer." And
yeah,
this was
but I
coming from
know
the left,
people in
like,
person. I know
main
real
left-
people who live in
main
DC.
left-wing media was saying like it's actually safe.
I care about reports from police chiefs on the ground and people who live there and actual polling. I don't care about what the media shows
that's
you
what-
or
this is
says.
definitely. I mean, a
I'm
lot of
talking
those people
about the
live
police
there.
chiefs. I'm talking about people that live there. I'm talking about people that I know who left because
That's
of how
what I'm saying.
hostile
A
it
lot of
feels.
people
I
live there.
visited
If you look
DC.
at-
I visited DC during these operations. It feels a lot less safe there. I did not like being there with masked federal agents walking around. I did not feel comfortable with that. I don't like that government overreach. At least show your faces. At least have badge numbers. Do you support ICE wearing masks everywhere?
According to many, this is just a quick Google search. DC safer according to left residents. according to many D.C. residents who identify as liberal, the city is not safer because of the federal takeover. Okay, maybe they agree with you.
I know they agree with me because I talk to people. But like, do you think ICE should be able to wear masks?
It says D.C. locals divided on safety and federal police control. Sorry, pulled up your video and I can't hear your reply.
Do you think ICE should be able to wear masks everywhere?
I think that, if there's people who are trying to actively put out hits on them, then, for their security and their family's security, it's probably a good idea that they don't tell people their identity or let that information get into the wrong hands.
So if a federal agent knocks on your door and says, "Come with me," and they say we're with ICE and we suspect they're harboring an illegal immigrant, and they have no identification and they won't show you any papers, like, what do you do?
Probably call local law enforcement, make sure that, that would probably be the easiest thing to do.
If you have time to. They're blowing up doors of American citizens. They've done it multiple times. They're tear gassing American communities. In Chicago, they were raiding apartment buildings that were 99% American citizens, tear gassing babies that had to run to the hospital. They shattered car windows onto newborns who almost died as well. Like, ICE is going on a rampage in these areas, and that's why I think it's important to pay attention to what local police are saying and what local residents say, because the media can show you one thing, but a lot of these ICE operations are very damaging. I would not want ICE in my community. I don't care if there's 1,000 illegal immigrants in my community. I don't want ICE running through and just blowing shit up to try and find the illegals, because that'll infringe upon my rights and make people around me less safe.
I'm looking to see. I could not find any verifiable, credible evidence that U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement specifically used tear gas on babies. However, there are documented incidents involving ICE deploying tear gas or chemical irritants in areas where children were present, which has raised serious concern and criticism.
So here's a story.
Yeah.
It's a feds ram SUV after chase down in residential street in Chicago. So they just did this takedown maneuver that's illegal for cops to do, because if you're in a crowded area of a town, you can't really do a takedown maneuver of a SUV, because you're going to put people in serious danger. And they did this maneuver, this like pit stop maneuver, or the pit maneuver, and they were chasing someone, and they just were in the middle of this residential area and started tear gassing people to disperse the crowd. But the issue is they're in the middle of like a neighborhood, and there's people walking by with their babies and stuff.
Trying to interfere with
they live there, man. They live there. They're not interfering.
They definitely are interfering. I've watched plenty of videos where they're trying to detain like people in a grocery store parking lot, and you got citizens like having little kids hold signs that and people in the parking lot honking their horn as signals to let other people know that, hey, ICE is here, and to try to avoid it.
Well, that's covered under the First Amendment, but like I need to set the stage here. This is the big issue.
It's really not. You're harboring a criminal at that point. It's basically harboring a criminal, or
no, we're not talking about the same thing even at all. So like this scenario, imagine a quiet neighborhood. It's a quiet neighborhood, and I see someone who's Hispanic or Latino, whatever. They chase them down. They think they look like an illegal immigrant, and in response, they take that car out. They crash into that car, and then the crowd forms because they're in the middle of a residential area. People live there. They want to see what the hell is going on, and then ICE starts throwing tear gas everywhere because they're not trained right. They're hiring people and they're bypassing all requirements because they just want to hire more people. And within the people walking by, there'll be babies and strollers and stuff. Like, you're disrupting a quiet neighborhood to go after one person who they suspect might be here illegally. The issue is like
see Chicago as a quiet neighborhood with over 22% or 22 and 100,000.
I think you just have a lack of a life experience here, man. I just think you've never been there or seen how big Chicago is, because like there's areas of Chicago that are
tournament in Chicago.
No, but there's areas of Chicago that have $10,000 rents that are extremely luxurious. There's areas that are like.
Guy come up to me at Subway when I lived in Chicago, and I'm 16 years old, or I didn't live in Chicago. Wrestled in Chicago. We went to Subway before the wrestling tournament, and the guy came up to me. He got $20 from me. It was like I had maybe $30 to my name at the time, but I gave him 20 so he could get something to eat and get some clothes, according to him. And then he goes in the subway right in front of me and pulls out a stack of like a thick stack of cash and orders whatever he wants. Like, he had more money than I had. I mean, I've seen a little bit of Chicago. I can't say that I know exactly what Chicago is like.
That's all I'm saying is like there's a lot of areas of
statistics.
Chicago. There's a lot of different situations that happen in different areas in America. So like
But
what
if
I
you
gotta
look at
do-
Chicago's murder
it's a-
rate, it's like 17 per 100,000 in 2024. It's almost it was more than that in 2025, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, then the White House should be working with Chicago on solutions to help bring the
I
crime
mean,
down.
absolutely,
They shouldn't
but
send
Chicago
in.
has to be willing to, let the White House help.
Let's say hypothetically Chicago is not
like
willing to
Memphis
work.
did. Like Memphis did.
The
Memphis
people,
let-
but the thing about America and American freedoms,
Memphis was talking about
you can have an
using
opinion,
switches and-
but
and
you can
shit
have an
on-
opinion.
on
So if I
federal
live in
agents,
my
and now
if
they're
I live
thanking
in
them.
if I live in my town and I elect someone to be my mayor and my city council, and I elect someone to be my governor, and I elect someone to be my county commissioner and whatever else, that's my ability as an American to choose who's governing me locally. If the president wants to say that all of my representation locally doesn't matter anymore because he knows better and he wants to send in the federal troops without collaboration, without anything, that infringes on the core value of being an American who has rights to vote for elected officials at different levels. And the big thing is, you don't know everything. The president doesn't know everything. We have Arkansas, we have California, we have Pennsylvania, we have New Hampshire, we have Florida, we have all these different states with these different needs, and they might have different problems that are very unique to them. So in Chicago, it might be different from Memphis. It might be different from a bunch of different states. And you know what? If the people there want collaboration with Trump or the federal government, they can vote out the mayor next time. They can vote out the city council next time. We do that in America. We don't just say the president can take authoritarian control of American cities whenever he decides he thinks he has a better solution. Because I think that violates very core tenets of American freedom.
You should look into that, like I was saying, where the constituents of Chicago actually grilled Brian Donald or whatever his name is. The
They
mayor
can vote him out
there.
then. They can vote him out. They can vote him out then. I don't know. Vote him out next time.
I kind of expect it, especially once the deportations are taken care of and those people can no longer show up with no voter ID and vote. I think that you'll see a mass or even greater red wave than we did in 2024.
Okay. Well, if you have if you ever want to call in again, we've been talking for a decent amount of time now, so I don't want to hold you on here too long, for around 15 minutes. But hey, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you for the conversation.
Yep. You too.
All right. Have a good one. Guys, I know we have some of our mods here mostly, but like, I have these conversations all day. I'm getting tired of talking about politics. What? Giselle, what's your phone number? Wait, what's your area code? What's your area code, Giselle? Oh my god. Yeah, it's all like, hey. What the hell? I don't see any 920s that called. There's no 920s that called.
And then finally, the last thing I would say is
Wow. Interesting. Hello.
Oh my God, is it you, Jola?
Yeah, it's Jola.
Oh my gosh. No way, no way, no way. I can't say what I'm gonna, because I don't know if there's minors on the phone.
Like Minecraft?
No, like minors, like under 18.
Whoa. Calm down,
You
miss.
are, you are hot. I love you. You're so sexy.
Thank you.
This is your phone number? Is this your phone number?
Oh, no, that's my YouTube phone number. That's from my YouTube.
So can I call you like after the show so I can have like a private conversation?
Okay, we gotta chill. Okay. We can meme. We gotta chill.
I'm like hotter than that fire back there.
That fire back there. That's crazy.
No, I'm kidding. How are you? How are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
Good. Do you know Poly Politics and Mermaid Ari?
People have
Or
told
have
me
you-
about them, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, they kind of talk about the same thing you do on your channel. But oh
Yeah.
my God, you made like my whole week, my night, my month. I can't believe it. I'm listening to you and I watch you. You're so cute.
Yeah, many say that. Usually the Trump supporters say that usually.
That's funny.
That's why they come back to
Although-
watch all the time. And they get really mad because they can't be with me.
But are you gonna give me a chance to be with you?
Spiritually in heaven. Do you believe in
Well,
God?
okay, of course I do. But yeah, that's kind of weird because like I'm like hitting on you so bad and talking about naughty things, and then you ask me if I believe in God. I mean, I do, but it's kind of like a weird moment to ask me, because then I feel bad. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's your political opinions?
So I'm not left or right. I'm like kind of like what Ari says. She doesn't agree with neither left or right, so more like independent. Is that okay?
Yeah, when did you find my channel?
So it just kind of went like maybe like a month ago, just scrolling.
A month ago.
Maybe I
Okay.
think, yeah, I think just because I watched like Ari and like Polly, like those kind of
yeah.
things just went on the algorithm and they you popped up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it happens.
But honestly, this time I didn't vote. I don't like Trump at all.
You gotta
And
vote.
so-
You gotta vote. You can't hit on me if you don't vote.
But who was I gonna vote for? I didn't like the Miss or the Mister. I couldn't vote.
Yeah, but
like
you
when you're
got to. You
independent,
gotta
like what do you
vote.
do?
You gotta pick with the best one, or the least bad one.
In that case, it was gonna be Trump, but I really don't like him.
Oh, but Trump did all the Epstein stuff with P. Diddy.
Yeah, I know. That's why I couldn't pick.
Mm-mm-mm.
Because, well, this is the thing. Like with Kamala, I didn't know too much about what she was gonna do, but I didn't think it was gonna be this bad with Trump. Because if I was gonna vote with Trump, I was gonna really end up like regretting voting for him with what he's doing now. Kind of like when sorry that I keep talking about this girl, but never mind. I don't want to give her too much.
Hey, I'll
know.
just tell you what. I'll tell you what. We have a community chat in our Discord. I'll be in there talking in like 10 minutes. If you want to come talk with our group, join our Discord. All right, the mods will have it in the chat. All right, we can come talk in the group. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. I'll do that because I think I'm giving that girl too much of your time in your channel, and that mermaid Ari. I just want you to listen to her. She has some really good points.
How do you
She's
spell it?
super smart. Mermaid
Mm-hmm.
Ari. Ari is ARI, just like that, all together. She comes at 6 o'clock 6 p.m. in Wisconsin. Right now it's 10 p.m. I don't know where you live. 10:22.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes on at 6 live, and at the same time as her boyfriend is Polly. Her boyfriend is actually Polly, so they come on at the same time. You gotta listen to her, seriously. Like, she's really good.
Well, I'll write it down. There's someone else on my chat that watches her, so I'll definitely have to write it down. Okay. But like
Okay.
I said, yeah, hop in that
Oh,
Discord.
Discord?
It'll be in my descriptions. It'll be in the chat. I appreciate the call. I appreciate you watching. And anybody watching, if you want to donate, to Venmo or Cash App on Joel Law Politics, you can send me a message on there that goes right to my phone. Joel Law Politics on Cash App or Venmo. Any donation you send a message with a message if you want to call me cute on there too. All right. I appreciate the call.
He's mine. No, I'm just kidding. But I wanted to really like talk about more about what your beliefs and things were.
Okay,
You didn't
okay,
have
yeah,
to do it
yeah.
in
Q
this
and
call.
A. You
We'll
get
do
Q
it
and A
in
me quick.
Discord. Yeah. Oh no, like for example, like pro-life or pro-choice.
I am pro freedom. All right. I'm not pro forced birth. I think that everyone should be able to make their own choice. There could be some restrictions. So like I would probably do for elective abortions, probably around 20 weeks restriction. And then for medical, I don't think I think that should be up to a doctor for if a woman's life is in danger.
Mhm. And then what about all the how do I say this? Like ideology with the children. They're trying to, well, I don't know how they're saying, like letting children or not children, but at what point do they decide if they can get hormones for if they decide they're not sure if they're women or men or a boy or girl, Like,
I think
are you okay with?
I think after a certain number of years working with a professional, so like if it's a few years, maybe around the age of like I don't know, around 14 or 16, if they're really on that path, with a lot of medical supervision for maybe some hormones, and then nothing irreversible until 18, until they're legal adults, which is the Democratic Party position too right now, because I'm really pro freedom. But there is some stuff with minors that we have to keep track of. But I'm definitely very pro trans rights.
That's what I meant. Okay. Very good. Well, thank you for letting me talk to you. I'll see you hopefully in Discord. I have some things to do yet tonight, but I'll hope to go on there, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank you for the call.
Okay, bye.
Bye, have a good one. I'm sorry, tonight's stream is just not gonna have any energy, guys, but I hit my hour. I hit my hour. Oh, I'm sorry, froggies. Don't do that. Don't give me money. Don't do that. Don't do that. No money. No. No. Bad. These people are brain dead for real. Sick dude, giving a 14-year-old the decision to change their gender. Learn how to speak English. Learn how to speak English, bro. I'm not repeating shit for you dumbasses. Yeah, true. That was exhausting. Everything's exhausting right now. I can't find one good piece of content. There's the Graham Plattner stuff, where Graham Plattner has a Nazi tattoo, which is hilarious. I'm sorry, but like, this Graham Plattner story, here he is right here dancing at a wedding with a supposed Nazi tattoo. He says he got it 2007 in Croatia. I believe he was a machine gunner, infantry. I forget. At that time, he served a couple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then a couple different regions. Here he is serving the military. He had some Reddit comments about how going to therapy is a huge deal. You got to go to therapy. You got to trust it, because a lot of our service members don't usually do that. And he said like black people don't tip. He got grilled for that. He said something about women, and women shouldn't get blackout drunk, putting themselves in harm's way, which he took that comment back, which is a opinion many men hold in America. I would probably say a majority. a pretty big majority. A lot of victim blaming, which is not good. But then Graham Plattner put out this apology video where he's basically saying, like, okay, he's addressing the comments here, but he put out an apology video where he says that he
the first Reddit post I wanted to ask you about is from 2013. So someone wrote on Reddit, what is one question you've always wanted to ask someone of another race?
Graham Plattner just did. You don't even know this, guys, by the way. You don't know. You don't understand. Graham Plattner just made a huge move. This is free advertising. He's now a national name. This is the cheapest way to be famous. It might not be good. It's like one of those Pokemon moves where you attack somebody in Pokemon, but your Pokemon takes damage as well. You know what I mean? So, like, you get more fame and notoriety, and then you just deal with the controversy. So this is all just it's a campaign plan. He got this Nazi tattoo, how many years ago? 20 years ago, almost 18 years ago, on purpose for when he was going to run for Senate now to use it as a big story. It's like Trump did with Epstein and everything. Do something bad, say something crazy, say they're all rapists and killers, and then get free advertising, bro. Billions of dollars of advertising. You don't got to pay for it at all. But you just got to get through the controversy. He's so smart, guys. You don't even know. This is 4D chess, bro.
He responded,
8D chess.
why don't black people tip?
You don't even know.
I work as a bartender, and it always amazes me how solid the stereotype is. Every now and again, a black patron will leave a 15 to 20% tip, but usually it is between 0 and 5%. There's got to be a reason behind it. What is it? End of quote. How did you feel rereading that post? And what's your response to people who hear that and think that is like textbook racism and it's offensive?
I mean, one, I was legitimately asking the question. I mean, that was the point of the thread, was to ask the question. Amusingly,
I love the autistic response, bro. Like, I was just asking the question, dude. He's not like, I'm so sorry that I offended black people. He's like, I was asking a question. I mean, why did the black people not tip me when I worked as a waiter? I just didn't get it. Oh,
enough.
Man. Interesting.
I remember this time when I had first started bartending, and then I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was black, who was a bartender, who did a great job of walking me.
Okay, guys, A+. He didn't say black friend of mine. He said friends who, or friend who was black, okay? He did not say black friend. He said friend who was black.
Through structural injustice and the fact of feelings of lack of agency. There were a whole bunch of reasons, and after that I was like, oh yeah, that makes absolutely perfect sense. It was certainly not meant as a malicious thing. I was asking the question because that was...
Just imagine typing a comment in Reddit, bro. Typing a comment in Reddit during the pandemic. Why
kind of the point of the thread.
Why don't these blacks tip me? They always tip low percentages. 20% is usually too high for them. They only tip 0 to 5%. And you're typing it out, Graham Plattner. And the idea, he was sitting there with a smile on his face, like a cute smile, like, do. I'm just asking a question, guys. I'm just curious. Like, why don't black people tip me? I don't, like, it is funny to imagine. Like, yeah, I'm just asking, I'm participating in the thread. Like, okay.
And actually,
so you're saying that this is not something that you were shitposting about. This was not something that you felt, it wasn't meant to be just a commentary. It was a question you were sincerely asking on a Reddit thread because you thought there might be some sort of like cultural explanation or something. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I like there was I grew up in Maine. I had never bartended before.
I'm sorry, bro, but again, you get a low tip. You're like, huh? Why don't the black people tip me? You go on Reddit, in Reddit threads, and you're like, why don't the blacks tip me? It's crazy, bro. It is crazy. Now, I will say that Graham Plattner's story of a dumb white dude who served multiple tours in the military, PTSD, combat injury. He said he got blown up enough for disability, but not blown up enough to be crippled his entire life or something like that. Now, this guy says, I had terrible beliefs. I had to get out, get therapy. I found love. I found meaning. I found purpose. I found community. And I found a way better way to view the world. Now, that story, that is an equation that can work to de-radicalize so many white people in America. That story is so good. And you might need somebody who's a dumbass who accidentally gets a Nazi tattoo when he's in Croatia in 2007 in the military. Like, it might need to be a dummy. He's a little silly. He's a goofy pants. But it might need to be a somewhat offensive, problematic white guy who is on the left, who converts people to a better position. He showed I can go from a dark area to a bright area. I can find meaning in America. And the Democratic Party's number one goal right now, how do we restore meaning, especially for men, especially for white men in America who abandoned our party, who are turning to cults and the internet, radicalization, and evangelical death cult groups, and all these Christian nationalist groups? How do we get them on a different trajectory? And like, this is the way to do it. This conversation is the way to do it. The way he approaches it is the way to do it. But I think it's too dirty for Democrats. I don't think Democrats can play in the mud enough. I don't think Democrats can work around these tough edges, these rough edges enough. I just don't think they're willing to even try. But this would be valuable if they could, but they're not gonna, and they can't. They cannot do it.
In Washington, D.C., and I honestly, I reread a lot of the comments for obvious reasons. Many of them I'm like, oh God. That one I must say, I was legitimately curious. And it was not, certainly not meant in any malicious way. And I got an answer soon afterwards in reality from an actual person, but.
Got it. Okay, so
I do love this idea that he believed all this dumb stuff and he met real people. And after talking to real people, he realized his dumb beliefs were wrong and he got better beliefs. Like, we need that in America. We need white guys to do that. He can be the model for this. He can be the model for this if we let him be. And he might have other crazy stuff in his past. We don't know. There might be even more stuff coming out. But like, they're dumping the whole file on him right now, I imagine, of what they found through Palantir and AI deep searching technologies on the internet to find his old deleted accounts and everything. But yeah, dude, I love this idea. Like, you're just a dumb white guy from a dumb white background, and you're like, hey, I'm not dumb anymore. I'm not going to believe this shit anymore. And probably not the white part, but like, it's just like, I can't explain to Democrats how valuable this guy would be, Plattner would be, for me talking to my fellow whites, bro. Talking to my fellow whites who I wanted to de-radicalize, having Plattner would be a very valuable tool for me to de-radicalize young men.
Another one that's gotten a lot of attention is there were posts from 2013 where it seemed like you were playing down the challenges faced by members of the military who were trying to report sexual assault allegations. The first post was, in today's current climate, when every whisper of a misplaced hand brings down a feature-length film, anyone who actually thinks the military is purposely covering up rape to save a career of some goddamn captain is clearly both an idiot and junior enough in rank or life experience to think it matters. And then there was another post where you suggested that the way to avoid getting sexually assaulted was not to get blacked out drunk. Again, what do you say to someone who hears those comments and feels like it's minimizing?
Now, number one, terrible comment, because you never blame a woman for being assaulted. You never blame a woman for being assaulted. Now, I would say in environments with alcohol, never get blackout drunk no matter who you are, especially if you're a woman. Your body's completely at the mercy of other people. You have no idea what's happening. I would say always avoid over intoxication. Now, many women get drugged as well, which is another huge concern. So you should never downplay it or even leave the room open for a woman to be blamed whatsoever. Now, you can say, here are steps to keep yourself safer. Like, maybe we can do this and keep communication and have the phone on you and let me know where you're going to be and get an Uber and all that kind of stuff. But it should never be presented in a way that blames the woman for being assaulted. It should always be focused on the crime and the person doing the crime and keeping the woman safe. Because women are usually smaller. They usually can't, like physically can be overpowered by men. And that feeling of being so vulnerable is really frightening for a woman. So you would never victim blame. So Plattner's statement there is on the victim blaming side, which is really bad. He needs to correct that. But I would probably say a majority of men in America believe that they'd probably blame a girl for being assaulted. Like, a lot of them would, which is really bad. Or they'll blame what they're wearing. Don't get drunk and wear that out. But we know it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how someone is deemed to be on the attractive scale. Women get assaulted of all shapes and sizes and looks and appearances and skin colors and trans, and every type of woman gets assaulted. Every type of man gets assaulted as well. But we know where the numbers are. We know who usually does the crime. We know who usually gets affected by the crime. So we have to beat down those stereotypes. But like, we have to differentiate stereotypes versus reality or whatever. You know what I mean? But
a very serious problem, if not suggesting that the victims are the ones to blame for sexual assault.
Yeah, they would be correct in that. I didn't know what I was talking about. I had, at this point, I had just gotten out of the infantry. It's important. Like, my time in the service was in the infantry. At that point, it was an all male branch. I had only recently separated, and my frame of reference was that world. And
honestly, dude, you're a freaking, you're a bunch of shitheads. All right, your country's sending you. Oh, I got piss stains. You see that? Because I'm sweating. That's really cool. That's so dope. Anyways, like, if you're infantry, bro, and your country's sending you out to go do operations in the Middle East and Fallujah and shit. Fallujah. Fallujah. Fallujah, what the hell? And freaking Fallujah. And like, I understand having bad opinions on the world, bro. I get it.
It was not a world in which, frankly, I had very little interaction with women in the service. Very soon after, actually, this time frame, when I started going to college, I became very
Thank you for $5, sir.
Very close friends with a number of vets, female vets at George Washington, and all of them had a story. And I very quickly changed my tune.
Again, he believes.
Very soon after.
So Graham Plattner, he says, why don't black people tip? Then he talks to a black person about different forms of racial injustice and different activities and different class reasons for why things are weird. He's like, oh, that was a weird opinion and a weird question to ask. He talks to a real person. He has a dumb idea or a dumb train of thought, and then he corrects it with a real person. He says something dumb about women not getting blackout drunk, a little victim blamey, and he says, I talked to actual women and understood it after that. If real men in America, instead of being scolded 24/7, could be told, here, dude, you believe some dumbass shit. Let's talk about it, and here's the correct thing to believe. I'm not going to scream at you. I'm not going to yell at you. Not everyone's going to agree. Not everyone's going to change their mind and have the right opinion, but enough will. A lot will. A lot will. A lot of men will, and enough will to change the country. But if we just make it toxic to be masculine whatsoever, we need the positive masculine represented. I love the idea of having a dumb thought, having a real interaction, and correcting that dumb thought based off of real world information and interaction and community. That's literally exactly what we need.
After actually this time frame, when I started going to college, I became very close friends with a number of vets, female vets at George Washington, and all of them had a story. And I very quickly changed my tune. I think you'll find even not that much later in my Reddit history me acknowledging that. That was a moment in time in which I had not yet been exposed to things, and I had a opinion or I had thoughts that were colored by my experience in the service. But my experience in the service was frankly limited.
Oh my God, dude. Do you know how many? I'm from a white area, very conservative. I had to grow out of bad beliefs, okay? You grow as a child. You're a child. You don't know shit about the world. You don't know anything about the world. You're a child. You are told by your 99% white community to believe all these lies about immigrants and about gay people and about black people and about whoever else, okay? You're taught all these lies. Then you go through high school, you're around a bunch of white people saying the same lies to you, okay? And it's not all white people, okay? It's these areas that foster bad ideologies and bad radicalization, okay? And you go from that to being in the military. He became infantry, okay? You're sent out to pretty much die. You're in actual combat. You are in combat. You're not JD Vance writing reports over there, okay? You are in combat, okay? He suffered from PTSD and all everything that's included in these tours, multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, bro. Like, you go through these things, all these different experiences, and you need to see more of the world before you change your mind. And progressives and liberals do not recognize that some people don't have any frame of reference. They don't have any type of interaction. They don't have the community to know better. They literally do not have they don't have the ability to know better. They've never been given the opportunity to know better. So of course, when they hear on Fox News to believe all these scary lies about immigrants and black people or whatever, they already were primed to do it from a young age. They were fully radicalized as a child before they knew anything else. We should not treat them as if they're evil. They are victims of manipulation. They're victims of a system. They're victims of this toxic culture. And we need a positive culture and more community to welcome more people in. because that social contact, the social relationships will change the country. Debating crime statistics will not change anything in this country. Debating, or not debating, having real conversations about humanity and about us humans and then connecting it back to those stats, that can change this country. And Grant Plattner here, unless if even more stuff comes out, even more crazy stuff comes out, he's getting the Nazi tattoo removed. But this is the framework to de-radicalize people. This is the form of like, it's not artificial. It's not Tim Walz taking a picture in front of a car saying, I'm a car guy now, I'm a car guy. This is a person who's been through some shit. And he came out on the other end, and he knew he had to open up his horizons, and when he did, he changed his mind on these topics. And that's what we need men to do in America right now. That's the main thing we need. That's why all the small town people, all the small town heroes who never leave, they believe the craziest shit. They've never experienced the world. They're afraid of immigrants because they've never been around immigrants. They're afraid of cities. They won't walk through freaking Philadelphia or New York or Pittsburgh or Cleveland because they think it's dangerous, because they see it on the news. The moment they go there, they're not scared anymore. It's social contact. I believe it's social contact theory, right? Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Is that a Marxist thing? Social metabolism. Wait. Marx? Shit, I fell into a Marxist theory, didn't I? I unknowingly went into a Marxist theory. Let's see, the theory of social theory rift. Marx theory of metabolic rift. Capitalism rupturing the relationship between humanity and nature. Developed by John Foster from Karl Marx's work, split in social metabolism. The theory argues that capitalist production, especially in the growing divide between urban and rural areas, causes this rift. Capitalists exploit rural areas for resources and transport them into factories, which creates pollution in cities and depletes natural resources in the countryside. Social causation thesis. Lower social class, higher risk of the... Yeah, but social contact theory, I'm pretty sure that's just when you're around somebody, or it's another thing. It's like something with proximity. No, it's not social contact. What is it called again? Proximity theory? What's the word? Guys, help me. What's the theory called? If you're around people, you're going to change your opinions. You're deeply closeted, so you're a gay man. No, I'm deeply closeted. It's not social contagion. What is theory that racism goes away when people interact with other cultures in the work? It's usually critical race theory. No. Intergroup contact theory. The theory that racism and prejudice can be reduced through positive, meaningful contact between different cultural groups is known as the intergroup contact hypothesis or contact theory. It suggests under certain optimal conditions, personal interactions can break down stereotypes and reduce hostility. It does go into if you meet someone in the workplace. So like some of the riots in American history between that had black and white workers rioting together. There's a big one in New York that happened. I don't know. I have to do more on that though. Dumb liberal theory. Yeah, the theory is if you get to be around someone, you get to know them. No way. All right, guys, I'm a little rusty tonight. I'm a little tired tonight. I appreciate you guys still hopping on here and hanging out with me. I'll be back on here tomorrow. I'll prepare more of an actual stream and wait. Are they reposting old Charlie Kirk clips? Again? Are they still using it? Wait.
Our good friends at Angel Studios. I love Angel Studios. Amazing new film this Holy Week. Phenomenal. In fact,
As I think about Charlie's life and how much of a support he was of Angel, it's hard not to feel so grateful for what he did. He supported us in our darkest days.
Everything about Charlie Kirk is being used for promo. Everything about him is being used for promo, bro. Like, you can talk about Charlie Kirk without having to grift your brand, bro. You can talk about Charlie Kirk, your supposed friend, without using it to tie it to a promo link that you make money off of. I feel like every time I hear Charlie Kirk's name, it's with a branding email, or with a promo code, or with a donation link. Like, what the hell, dude?
And in our brightest
What is this
hours
company?
as a company,
like,
man, are we grateful to have gotten to be a little connection in the multitude of connections that he made throughout his life, because
oh, bro. And this is a video of Charlie Kirk that they're putting up posthumously. What is it? Posthumous? Posthumous? That's the word, right? Posthumous? Posthumous.
posthumous.
Posthumous. Posthumous? Okay, well.
It was so impactful to us. Thank you, Charlie. Love you. We miss you. We're going to continue to drive forward the good news.
You've spoken a little bit about your belief in the sanctity of life and the inviolable dignity of the human person. I take it that you accept evolution.
It depends what you mean by that.
Do you think we've evolved from primates?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I do believe in the biblical account of creation. I also acknowledge that there is an abundance of scientific research that shows adaptation. Species change is heavily inferred in the data. I don't know enough.
Yeah, but they will say, like Charlie Kirk might say, there's a combined theory of creation where it was all planned. So evolution was actually planned by God. So you can believe in the creation by God, but he also did evolution as well. So you can have religion that also has a scientific element
about it, but I believe the scriptures to be true. And you can be a theist and also believe in God ushered evolution.
Yeah.
Of which I allow
True.
people much smarter than me to make determinations on that. It's completely irrelevant to my core theology, though.
Okay. Are you happy for me to proceed with the question,
Please,
though, on that
yeah.
basis?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah.
No, that's fine. So you're kind of not vaguely, but you seem generally happy with the idea that maybe evolution is true. I hope that that's the case. I mean,
I don't believe that. I think that
Okay.
I'm not saying you said happy that evolution is true.
We're not necessarily happy, but
Well, that was the word you
surely-
used, though, right?
Okay, fine. Willing to accept that based on the evidence, evolution is a fact.
No, I'm not saying
You
it's a
don't-
fact.
fine.
I'm actually, again, I say I'm open to have my mind moved, and I look at the data, but I believe, given the abundance of equal data that atheists must reckon with, that there is a fine-tuning problem to our existence that I believe
Equal.
warrants that there is a God, intelligent life came from a God, and I believe the scriptures to be true. That in the creation account, there is an allowance to say that God created the heavens and the earth and allowed us to either evolve through species. I happen to believe, through a faith claim, that human beings are designed. What that means is designed over a long period of time or designed immediately. That's for people smarter than me to determine.
Fine. I suppose what I'm getting at is if you believe in the sanctity of life and that there is something fundamentally
Yeah, it is still sad to watch. It is kind of crazy watching it, huh?
different between the life of, say, for instance, a human being and the life of an animal, does that not make that
I
claim
wanted to
slightly
debate Charlie Kirk.
arbitrary? What is personhood based in, if not?
So
do you see what I'm getting?
Sort of. The scriptures say, though, that God created humans, male and female distinct. They're the only ones in Genesis 1:26, 1:27 to made in the image of God.
Right,
and
exactly.
so he called animals good, but they are not image bearers.
Okay, but
that word create
Mhm.
is barah in Hebrew, and it's not clear whether or not that is created in an instant over a long period of time. And we as believers, I find no contradiction.
I am curious when Charlie Kirk studied all the Bible talk. Did he go to he didn't go to a Bible college. He had to have done a lot of research on the Bible, in particular, being a Christian nationalist. Really interesting.
Saying that God could have created an instant, of which I would be pleased. I'll ask God when I get to heaven how this all unfolded. Or was it a process of adaptation and species change? Very smart Christians are on both sides of this issue. And so there's what we call in Christianity closed hand theological issues and open hand theological issues. Closed hand issues would be like the resurrection of Christ, the Trinity, and then there's open-handed, which would be like eschatology or the Eucharist or the creation account. This one allows, given the verbiage, it could be either way.
Fine. I think just, I don't want to take up too much time then, but just kind of on that, you were talking a little bit about Christian values, and I'm intrigued by that. I get the sense that you're very much motivated by your faith. To what extent do you think Donald Trump embodies gospel values?
Yes, so he reminds me very much of Samson in the Bible. Both had, you can laugh. How many of you guys actually know about Samson? Great hair. He was a man willing to fight for a cause greater than he, despite some of his own moral troublings and moral missteps. All throughout the Bible, from King David to others, there are plenty of Abraham. Moses murdered.
Is that what Trump is doing when he's going to pardon P. Diddy? Did God say pardon P. Diddy? Did God say pardon P. Diddy? Did God say pardon P. Diddy? It really makes you think.
Somebody. How many people knew that? Moses murdered somebody. How dare you? You could say a lot. Donald Trump has never murdered anybody. But Moses is like the most revered man in Judaism.
Well, you can say that these, I hate the news, bro. Oh God, I can't cover it. It's just like, guys, I hope you have a good night. I hope you have a good night, guys. I hope you have a good night. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to be prepared for a stream. Okay. I'm going to be prepared tomorrow with clips I want to react to. Okay. We're going to take some callers. I'm going to be hyped up. Okay. Because I was going to talk about how Trump is murdering people in fishing boats right now and trying to cause war with Colombia, Venezuela, and all of Central America and South America, except Argentina. We can give them $50 billion, whatever. Oh, God, dude. It is horrible. It's exhausting, dude. It's exhausting. And I've been working a lot. I do want a more podcast. I would enjoy a podcast. I don't know. I was traveling for work. I'll be traveling again in a few weeks. It's just so hard to keep up with this. It's so hard. It's so challenging. It's so painful. I'll try my best. Try my hardest. All right. I appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you for watching. Join Discord. TikTok's been popping off though, guys. TikTok's been popping off. So make sure you go follow me on TikTok. Well, I'm involved in like local elections. I'm involved in organizing. I'm involved in a lot of stuff outside of YouTube, which money-wise, if I cared about just money, I should be doing YouTube more than that stuff. But that's how it works, right? The people like look at like if you know Dylan Burns, like the people that are actually out there doing real things don't usually blow up on YouTube. It's usually the guys who could sit there obsessively making videos for 20 hours a day. I'll find my groove eventually, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Our viewership is going up right now too, which is upsetting, but we'll figure it out tomorrow. To save the Chinese Empire. I appreciate it. I'm just tired. I get whiny when I'm tired, dude. All right, have a good night, guys. See you tomorrow. Appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes and the views. 57 likes. Thank you. I'll take a political compass test on stream when I hit 50,000 subscribers, dude. Can I be a mod? You haven't been here. Why do you be a mod if you haven't been here? You just got here. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Someone's laughing at me for having 57 likes. Damn, dude. Shit. Launch up your stream, homie. All right, have a good night, guys.